Hey Dad, what are you making?
Today on Dad, What Are You Making? We're doing a butter poached lobster with a Parmesan garlic pasta. The star of this episode is this guy. Well, not exactly. It's actually this guy. My wife caught him on a recent trip to California. This is a spiny lobster. These guys are massive. They don't have big claws like you normally would see with a Maine lobster, but their body and their head have a ton of meat. And yes, she flew back with this, packed in her bags, but I broke it down when I got home in a couple parts. Let's get started on the prep. We're going to use a lot of butter here. We're going to use 2 full sticks because we're going to poach in the butter as well as making the butter garlic sauce for the pasta too. So let's go ahead and break down the garlic. We want about 4 to 5 cloves. Get the woody ends off and then go ahead and take all the papers off as well. We want to dice this down so it's fairly large so that way we can use the garlic in a couple different ways. While you're doing that, get a large pan simmering with water with about half a cup of water at the bottom while you're doing your prep. Go ahead and slice your butter into about 1 tablespoon knobs. We're going to want to use these in pieces. Then, once your water has got a gentle simmer, go ahead and put a few knobs of butter in. We're going to start by emulsifying this butter. We're going to whisk it quite a few times to make sure that we get it all mixed in. But this is going to take a little while. So just go gentle, go slow, but go ahead and start whisking it in right now. You can see that's just gently starting to melt. And we're going to keep doing this process a few times over. While that butter continues to melt, go ahead and dice up your shallot. We want a small dice here. And as you can see, the butter is starting to melt into that water. So let's go ahead and add a couple more knobs and then give it another whisk. Just keep whisking it in. We want to make sure we get this nice, smooth, and creamy. Let's go ahead and keep breaking down our lobster tail. This lobster tail is massive. It's about 5 pounds. If you don't have a spiny lobster like this, you can use 2 to 3 Maine lobsters to have the equal amount that this guy has. Remember, don't forget your butter sauce. Keep adding that butter back in until you have all the cubes put into it and whisked in smoothly. Go ahead and chop your lobster up into about 1-inch pieces. We want them to be pretty big here. Once you're done breaking apart all of this, you can also take all of the shell and the body and go ahead and put that into a stock. It makes a great use to make a lobster bisque, which I did as well. The next thing for this recipe though, let's get a pot of water boiling for that pasta. Heavily salt it. Make sure that it's really, really well seasoned. And then again, we're coming back to that butter sauce. We're adding the last of our butter here and whisking it in. You can see that it's getting really well emulsified in here. Once everything's mixed and it's all emulsified, now we can go ahead and start adding our lobster in. Now gently drop it piece by piece into that poaching liquid. You want to be very careful to make sure you don't break the lobster as well. So just put it in there very gently and then give them a little bit of space too. Now, once they're in there, we're going to go ahead and season it up a bit. At this point, we haven't added any seasoning but just the butter and water. So add some fresh ground black pepper, a bit of that garlic. We will use about 1/4 or so of what we cut. Then, once they're in there, go ahead and just give them a little bit of a stir. As you can see, they're starting to turn pink. And what we want to do is make sure we don't overcook these. So we're going to go about 2 to 3 minutes per side and keeping an eye to make sure that they don't overcook. Once they start to really firm up and get that pink color, go ahead and start thinking about taking them off. This is what they're going to look like when they're just about ready to be done. Keep basting them though in that butter. We want them to suck up all that delicious flavor before we pull them. Then you can pull them out of the pan and just put those aside. Leave all of that butter in there because we're going to use that for our pasta. Bring the butter back up to a simmer. Then we're going to start adding our first round of Parmesan cheese. Go ahead and freshly grate that in. You don't want the stuff that's already pre-grated. We want this to be nice and smooth. Then you can start adding in our shallots and garlic. You want all of that we've already cut up. So go ahead and get that into the pan and then start whisking and getting emulsified again. This is what's going to create our delicious sauce. We want to make sure that we season this up as well. So next, we're going to add a bit of a zest of a lemon. Then at this point, your pasta should be just about done. You don't want it too al dente because it's going to cook a bit here in this pasta sauce. We want to reserve a bit of that pasta water just in case. So go ahead and stir it up and get it soaking up a lot of those juices. Here's the key though, if it seems like it's still a little bit dry, you can go ahead and add a little more Parmesan, a couple more knobs of butter, and a little bit of that pasta water, and it's going to loosen it up a bit. Now, go ahead and grate that in, and then you've got to give it another mix. Make sure that it's looking all luscious and velvety. Once it looks like this, then let's go ahead and plate it. We want to make sure that we get it on the plate as quickly as possible. Dust it with a little bit more Parmesan, and then we're going to put some of that lobster right on top. I'm adding just a few pieces here. You can add as much as you want, depending on the size of your crowd. Then to make it pop, you can go ahead and add some fresh chives. You can also add red pepper flakes if you'd like. Then of course I've got to do that chef thing, because people eat with their eyes first, right? Doesn't that look delicious? Hope you enjoy and hope you give this a try. We'll see you on the next episode of Dad, What Are You Making?